Nero. On the night of the 7th, black smoke rose from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican, and the crowds that filled St. Peter's Square let out deep sighs. On the first day of the conclave, no pope was elected.
At 9 p.m. local time, after a long wait, black smoke began to pour out of the Sistine Chapel chimney. And many realized that the long-awaited papal election had failed. The sighs of Nero, which means black in Italian, erupted from all over St. Peter's Square, and the crowd, exhausted from waiting, left the square in waves. Although expectations were low on the first day of the conclave, the square was different that day. The square, which had been quiet until the early evening, began to swarm as the time for the results to be announced approached, and soon it was packed with people with no room to stand. Even in the strong sunlight, people were busy looking for the best spot to see the chimney. Even a single sliver of shade was precious. And the expressions of those who held their cameras with telephoto lenses or cell phones and kept their eyes on the chimney seemed as if they were desperate not to miss that moment. Some waved Slovak and Polish flags. The square was filled with hopes for the birth of a pope from their own country. Even after 7 p.m., the results were still not out. The Vatican said, "We should know the results by this time," but as expected, the Italian leisurely pace was intact. As the wait grew longer, around 8 p.m., someone started applause. And the square was filled with applause in an instant. It was both an unspoken pressure to announce quickly, and an encouragement to the cardinals. Until then, the sky was getting darker and darker, and those who had worried, "What if I don't see white smoke?" were now anxious with conflicting worries. What if I don't see black smoke? The weather was getting colder. But people still stood their ground, looking only at the chimney. When viewed from afar, everyone's eyes, expectations, and beliefs were focused on a single chimney that was only 3 to 4 centimeters tall. And finally, smoke rose. Black. Failure to elect a pope. Expectations were dashed, but on the faces of many of those present, something lingered rather than disappointment. After a while, Italian Andrea Bonifati turned around and said, "I thought it would be difficult on the first day. Tomorrow, we will see a new pope. He is Italian, but he said he did not necessarily want an Italian pope. The reason Pope Francis chose cardinals from around the world was to include voices from all over the world. Now is the time for a pope with an international vision to emerge."
Although the black smoke meant non-fire, the crowd that filled the square waited for tomorrow again, with hope and belief.